Hey guys, this is Randy. I'd like to take a minute to show you something on the PC audio out. This is something that pops up generally during worship service that will make your hair stand straight out. But if you know what to do quickly, you can resolve it. And there's just a lot of steps in this process, and it's good to understand them so you know exactly what to do when this arises, because it will. It comes down to this, that if you're playing audio, something on ProPresenter or on that PC, it doesn't even have to be on ProPresenter, for example, a YouTube video or audio out of this song or something like that. That signal, let's just start with YouTube. That signal comes through, and you know in your YouTube player, you have an opportunity to mute or turn your volume down. This is drawn in series very deliberately, because if that's not done that way, if you have to be unmuted here with some volume up, we try to run them 50, 70%, then you'll have output that goes to the operating system. If you look at the lower right corner of the computer, you'll have a little speaker there that can be muted, or the volume control can be turned way down. That has to also be set in 60, 75% to get output out of this computer. And then when you have all that set right, you get the output to the mixer, to the X32 mixer console. This is, I'm gonna point you out now, this is the critical point. If you don't have audio to either the front of house speakers for in-person worship or to the OBS stream to Facebook, the first place to look while it's playing is on bank 3 and channels, I believe it's 3 and 4, you'll see them, it's the only two linked together. And make sure you check this meter. If you see sound meter signals here, that means everything up here is working fine. You need to look elsewhere. The elsewhere would be on the X32. Be sure to select bank 3, and then make sure that you're not muted on these two. If you mute one, it mutes the other, because they're linked, they're stereo. It's a small headphone jack coming from the PC into this unit, and we pick up both signals, so we have a stereo signal. It has to be unmuted, and these faders have to be pushed up, at least halfway or so. Otherwise, you've actually killed the sound here. You can kill it by muting it. You can kill it by pulling it down. And I have multiple times been working on this problem quickly, and I'll look and see that I do not seem to be muted. But then I look later and realize I was looking at bank 1 instead of bank 3, so I was confusing myself. So if you have signals here, bank 3. Make sure they're unmuted and the faders are pushed up, and you will have sound to the front of house if you had signals on those meters. So look here and you'll know exactly where to go to make sure things are working. I've drawn this diagram. It's also an interesting way to think about this. When this is called the main console that I've been describing for now. And if you go to the right side of the console and you hit sends on fader and then select bus 4, you're now mixing that. The console then becomes a separate console for the output to the OBS. So if you have front of house to the front of house speakers, you can hear, but you can't to OBS. Your problem is in this area here, and that same thing would apply. You got to make sure you're on bus 3, unmuted with the faders pushed up, and then you'll have output to OBS stream. And this is drawn correctly, by the way. If you get it through here and you get this right, you'll have front of house. If you get it through here and you get the main console set, that gives you output to the send on fader 4, which is controlled separately. You could separately mute it here or pull the faders down here, and you will mute this, but it will not mute front of house. This is drawn in series, and it's exactly correct. So didn't really mean to terrify you. In fact, there's nothing to be terrified about. If you don't get output on a video or something that's playing up here on the computer, go to those meters. If you have bank 3, those channels 3 and 4, if you see a signal, you need to keep moving down into this area. Anyway, there you go.